Last week we started to work on this Chanel suit dupe that I'm making with a tweed that has been gifted to me by my beautiful friend and subscriber Chantal. Thank you so much. She wanted to challenge me. She wanted to see me make something from scratch with a fabric that I have not chosen myself, and I'm up for it. So in that last video you saw me figure out what I could make with the fabric, you saw me conceptualize the project, and you saw me giving the pattern a go using my Lutterlow pattern kit. This is the beautiful fabric that I'm going to be working with, and today's task for me is to start cutting out all of my pieces, which are quite a few. These are all of my pattern pieces. Let me lay them flat for you on the floor so you get a better look. Alright, so we have 13 pattern pieces here. As you can see, we have the main pattern pieces for the shell for the jacket, which are the front, the back, and the sleeve. Same for the skirt, front and back. And then we have all of the facing and lining pieces. So we have these two here, three actually, for the jacket facing, and then we have two lining pieces which are going to be cut from the lining fabric. Then we have two facing pieces front and back for the skirt, and the lining is going to be the exact same pieces that I'm going to be using for the shell as well as for the sleeve and the skirt. So that's what I'm going to be working with. It looks quite complicated, but it's not that bad. It's just a lot of steps. Now the last thing to do is to pray that we have enough fabric, which I'm hopeful, but you never know until you place everything. Okay, after taking a long lunch break, I'm now sitting in this mess that I created, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna cut my pieces. It's happening, like there's no going back. So I think I'm gonna cut it so that the yellowish stripes are vertical rather than horizontal, because horizontal stripes make wider and vertical stripes make longer. So I'm gonna go for the longer version, which means I'm gonna cut my pieces like this. As far as I can tell, is there a front and a back? Don't think so, but I'm also not sure. I'm gonna say this is the front. So what I'm trying to do is I'm always finding this silvery yellow line that I'm using as my center back for my jacket and my skirt. So hopefully when I'm wearing both together, it will look kind of like homogeneous and not like all over the place. That's at least the idea. Alright, so I have cut all of my pieces from my shell fabric now, and before I can actually cut anything from my lining fabric, I will have to prepare all of the darts in my pieces so I don't get confused, because I'm reusing some of my paper pattern pieces for the lining. So I'm gonna start sewing a little bit now and then move back to cutting. So with the sleeves, I'm immediately going to close them up as well, because there's no reason to wait for that. So once the dart is in, I can also close the side seam of the sleeve. This looks so good already. I am so excited about this. And look what the dart does to the sleeve. It gives it a really good shape. And you might also notice that I decided to cut the sleeve differently than the rest of the project, because I decided to give the sleeve the horizontal stripes. I feel like these lighter stripes are the ones that are really popping out. I decided to place them horizontally on the sleeve rather than vertically as I did with all of my other pattern pieces. I think this might give it a nice contrasting touch. Sleeves are completed. I'm really happy with them, and I actually am forced to call it a day now because the battery in my phone is almost empty. I made some good progress today. All of the shell pieces are cut and all the darts are in. Tomorrow I can assemble all of the shell, and I can also cut my lining. I think the hardest part of all of this is already done. The assembly should go relatively smoothly with all of the pre-work that I've done. So fingers crossed. See you tomorrow. Hi, it's the next day, and as you have seen, I just sewed together the skirt, and it is the perfect length. I'm really happy about the length, and the fit is really good as well. There's going to be a zip on the side. Now that I've sewn together the skirt, I have all of the pattern pieces to actually cut out all of the linings. I'm going to do that next. Alright, all the pattern pieces for the lining are cut now, and the first thing I have to do is to sew in all of the darts for my corresponding lining pieces. And then I will have to figure out a sequence of how to put things together, because we also have all of the facing pieces. So my theory right now is that I'm going to put together all of the lining pieces and then sew them together with the facing pieces so that the inside of the jacket is completely assembled, and then I just take that and combine it with the outside of the jacket. Also, I put a really funky color on my nails. It was a cheap nail polish, so it's already starting to chip in a couple places, but it's either Tiffany's blue or it's Smurf blue. Let me know what you think. Okay, all the darts are in. I burned my back skirt just a tad. It's a bit stiffer here now than the rest of the skirt, but it's not visible, so I'm gonna leave it as is. I'm okay with that. And now I'm going to have to figure out how to puzzle all of the facing pieces together with the lining. I think I'm gonna start out with the skirt. So there are a few things that are gonna be interesting. First off, I need to put the lining together with the facing, like I said, and I think I'm gonna sew the pieces together individually first. Okay, skirt pieces are looking good. Now let's move on with the jacket pieces. So we have these two front pieces here, and we have the back, which technically we could sew together at the shoulder and sides. So the first thing I'll do is, as I did with the skirt, I'm going to attach the facing for the back. That needs to press, and then before I go to the iron, I'm also going to fit together these pieces. And now, moment of truth. Yay, that worked out perfectly. Yes. Look at this. This is the inside of the jacket, and it looks really good. Repeating that with the other side, and then also I need to attach this to the back. Alrighty, so this is the lining, and it looks really good. I think it looks super professional. I'm now at a point where practically all of the pieces are put together, and now it's assembly time, meaning I can assemble the skirt and I can assemble the jacket, which is very exciting. I am so slow this afternoon. For how fast I was in the morning, the much slower I am this afternoon. Is this English? No. Although I was super fast in the morning, I'm so slow this afternoon. I'm just procrastinating and keep looking at my phone. I'm sure a lot of you know what that's like. I feel like I could be done by now if I would just get going and move on. It's 3:10 in the afternoon. I am just about to insert the second sleeve into the lining, and then I'm going to add the sleeves to the shell, and then I can probably assemble at least the jacket today. Hopefully. So let's try. Let's insert the sleeves. First look, what do you guys think? I love it. I think it looks really good. Love the shape of it. Very, very retro 60s. It also looks good with jeans. Like, I can't wait to wear this with a white tee and jeans. Gonna look very nice. Now, The next step will be to put this into this, which shouldn't be too difficult, I'm thinking. So let's see. So how is this going to work? So right sides of the jacket is looking out. This needs to be right sides touching. So I'm going to start in the center back. I'm going to pin the shoulders together. So what I'll do is I'll pin this along the entire neckline and the center front. And when you feel like things are not 100% the same, you can always try to hold in the layer that's a little bit too wide. There's a bit of ease, don't worry about it, you can pin it away, basically. Okay, so that means the entire neckline all the way down to the hem is closed until the side seam, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, meaning we're gonna leave the hem in the back open. And this is where we can still access the inside of the jacket later. Okay, so this is what the jacket looks like now pinned together. You might be able to see it a bit better on this side. So both of the sleeves are like protruding out of the still open hem in the back, but everything else is pinned shut. So I'm basically now gonna sew all the way around here from side seam to side seam in the hem of the jacket, and I'm gonna leave the back of it open. Moment of truth. I need to snip a few places, especially in the curved areas, so things are lying flat. And now turning everything outside out and pushing the sleeves into the sleeves. Careful not to forget any pins anywhere. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we've got ourselves a jacket. This looks really good. I am very excited about this. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, I need to give this an urgent press. All right, I'm not gonna show you what this looks like when I have it on because it's gonna be too much of a giveaway, but it looks good. We need to close the sleeves. For that, what do? I go in here. So I'm going back in, and then I am grabbing the sleeve and I'll pull it out so I have good access. I can start to pin the lining and the shell together, and because the lining is a little bit shorter than the shell, it will pull the shell inside of the sleeve and give us a nice finish, making sure the lining is not showing on the outside. This is how you pin them together. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so the last thing I do before I close the back of the jacket is I want to put some fusible interfacing about like, I don't know, 3 centimeters off the center front. Maybe, I'm not sure yet, there will be buttonholes here. There will definitely be buttons. I don't know if there will be buttonholes because of the fabric and because I don't have a professional button holder. I just have a sewing machine with a buttonhole function, and I don't want to ruin this jacket by messing up the fabric. But in case there will be buttonholes, and also just to keep this crisp for like a long time, I'm gonna cut some fusible interfacing, and then I'm gonna try and feed it into the section between the 2 layers of fabric and really press it down so that this part just stays together at all times. Hi! It is Monday. The weekend has passed. I had a very social weekend. I was out and about basically all the time. Went to the theater, had brunch with friends, had a nice lunch, and also I couldn't help myself. I went to Liberty again. If some of you have seen my Liberty fabric haul that I did in January, I went there again about 7 days after the first time, and I bought some more fabric. Not only did I buy this gorgeous black silk with blue flowers, I also bought this gorgeous crepe de jean with this paisley. I thought I don't have paisley and I don't have crepe de jean, so why not? I'm a lost cause, if you ask me. Way too many fabrics already. I should really stop myself. I actually went to Liberty because I wanted to get some buttons. I decided that I wanted to go for the pearl buttons, but the pearl buttons I have are a little bit too small. So I got these bigger ones. They're a little bit more white than the others, and I think they're gonna give the blouse a nice fresh touch, so I'm gonna go with these. Before I can think about buttons at all, I have to finish the skirt, and that's what we're gonna do now. Okay, so I pinned together the lining skirt, and now I'm gonna sew the side seams. And I made sure that I left an opening on the same side as I did in the shell. That is also the same length. For me, that's 18 centimeters. And I'm gonna sew that lining skirt together. Okay, I now go and press these side seams open for both lining and shell. What I want is the right side of the lining and shell to match up. So I'm gonna pull my lining over my skirt like this. Now we have to work on the hem. We have a overturned hem with a facing, and the detail of the hem is that the side seam corners are rounded towards each other like this, mirroring the center front curve of the hem of the jacket. The reason why I pressed apart the side seams is that we need to get to this corner point in here, and for that I am going to snip the seam allowance so that it almost reaches that point. Very carefully, because the seam allowance will have to turn into opposite directions. I'm doing that both with the lining and the shell. Now I'm going to start to pin all of this together. The hem is completely pinned, and you can see there's a scallop detail here. And what I will do is I will try to start sewing exactly at this midpoint here and go all the way around. And then whatever isn't perfectly matched up, I can hand sew from the outside because tweed is very forgiving. So let's sew this. Now, let's see. Now I can pull the lining inside as it's supposed to be. Okay, and we have a hem. It's not pressed yet, but we have this rounded-ish detail here on the side, and I'm gonna go press this now to reveal its true shape. Okay, back from the ironing station. I did the same thing with the length as I did with the button tape in the jacket. I added some fusible interfacing in the two layers in here, so this is now one more cohesive piece down here, and it's gonna hopefully hold up a little bit longer. All right, last day I'm working on this. Also, today is hair oiling day, so I'm sporting a bit of a different look than usually. I don't know, what do you think? I don't usually wear my hair up like this, but it's very practical. I found a black zip in my stash that I shortened because it was about this long and I only needed to be about this long. So what I did is I cut it off with my paper scissors. Don't do this with your fabric scissors. I sewed over the teeth of the zip a couple of times. This is a plastic zip. You can do this with a plastic zip. Don't do it with a metal zip. And then I folded over the edges like so and took a, what is this? A match? No, a lighter. A lighter, and kind of like melted it together a little bit like this. So we have a nice flat zip. And now this is gonna go in the skirt, and then technically the skirt is finished and we can focus on finishing touches. All right. All right, so it's now finishing touches time. I put the zip into the skirt. I'm not super happy with what the skirt looks like. I'm gonna throw that out there right away. But you will see in the final reveal. Maybe why, maybe not, we'll see. So I'm holding shoulder pads. I actually bought this when I made the Vampire's Wife dress last year, and I ended up not using them, but I think they will make themselves a really good new home in the shoulders of the jacket. So I'm gonna open the jacket up again in the back, and then I'm gonna put these into the shoulders, and then we can add the buttons. back from shooting the tweed Chanel inspired suit outside. Kudos to my boyfriend, he always is up for a real quick shoot outside just before we lose the sun. I love the jacket. I think the jacket is really cute. I can see me wearing this a lot this summer because it's really like a short, nice throw on when it's like not too hot outside in the evening and you don't quite know what to put on. This looks really nice with a tee and jeans. So super stoked about the jacket. The skirt, as I teased it earlier, didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it. I think I rushed the process a little bit towards the end. Would have been better to add a waistband because the lining keeps showing. When I wear the skirt with a turtleneck like this, I can flop the turtleneck a little bit over the waistband so you don't see it, but it still happens. So I couldn't wear this with a crop top or something because you would see the lining all the time. And also for some reason I didn't get the grain line quite right with the front piece, but I only noticed it once it was too late, like once everything was sewn together. It was the first time I actually saw that the checker was a little bit off in front. I don't know if you can see it on the final reveal shots, but it's not 100% right. Like, it's a bit off kilt. Bottom line is, I love the jacket. Thank you so much, Chantal, for gifting me this beautiful fabric. I think it's a great wardrobe staple. I can see myself wearing this a lot. And then learning from this is don't rush the process. Take just like the extra half hour to get things right, specifically about the skirt, because a mini skirt is such an easy thing to make. So this should have turned out okay, but it didn't. And that's okay too. We learn, we live and we learn, you know me. When we came back, I said to my boyfriend, because he was unlocking the door, if I would have unlocked the door, I would have low-key looked like a real estate agent, like 100%. So I'm a high-end real estate agent. I'm down with that. That's okay. Anyway, enough rambling. See you next time. Bye.